Welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to be working on the steering on my Massey Ferguson 65 tractor. So this tractor has a power steering system, which is different from my other tractor, which is a fully manual steering system. So when I got this tractor, the guy I got it from said that he could never quite get the power steering to work correctly so that it would actually be of use. And when I got it, I realized that he was right. The power steering does not work at all, and it's fully manual, and it's really hard to get this tractor to steer and go the way you want to. So what I did start to do already is I did remove the power steering lines, drained all the fluid out of it, and it turns out there was no fluid in it, which is part of the reason why the power steering isn't working. But instead of filling the system up with fluid, trying to get it to work, running into the same issues they did, I just decided it was cheaper for me to buy an entire O-ring and seal rebuild kit and just rebuild the valve, the cylinder, and the pump right off the bat so that I don't have to worry about that in the future. So now that I've got that all taken care of, I have all the parts here, it's time to get all the pieces apart onto the bench and start to disassemble them. So I am lucky in that I do have a manual for this tractor which details how I need to take this power steering system apart. And the first thing it tells me to do after draining and disconnecting the hoses is I need to remove this bracket off of the tractor. Now that that's all done, I can drive this pin out that's holding the cylinder on. Once that pin's out, I'll be able to remove the entire assembly. So this is supposed to be the wiper seal that's completely disintegrating. That's pretty much all I've got left of the wiper seal. And this is just an O-ring. So these are supposed to be, according to the manual, these are supposed to be Allen screws. They're not. They appear to be bearings. So I don't know if this is a different valve assembly than what I have in my book. That's very odd. So I got the dust seal out, and now this isn't quite lining up with the book, but there appears to be a spiral snap ring that's holding the spool in. So theoretically, once I take this out, I should be able to just slide the spool out. There we go. That's the spiral snap ring. So now, theoretically, this should just pull right out. Aha! It kind of does. Alright, so now I have all the parts and pieces from the cylinder washed up and ready to be put back together. Let me show you what I've got. So I've completely stripped everything down like you saw, and I do have a new O-ring and seal kit that I got online. So this came with everything that I need to possibly put this cylinder back together. I have my dust seals and my end of cylinder seals. I have my main cylinder body O-rings. I cleaned up the end of the cylinder. This piston is slightly different from what I have in the book. In the book, I've got the new version and the old type. So the old type uses this 3-piece seal, O-ring and 2 backups, while the new type just uses a single O-ring, but mine has these metal rings instead. So I think that was an upgrade, but slightly different from my book, but overall my book is still pretty accurate. I've got all my parts laid out for the control valve here, and one thing I did do is the existing cylinder head had these 2 ball bearings, and they went up in this top here, and I believe that they were to just plug off holes that were there from the manufacturing process. And I don't know how they got the ball bearings in there, but I ended up driving them out because my book shows that they should be Allen screws, and that's what I want to put back in just for ease of installation and possibly having to take apart in the future. So all I did was I just drilled them out, tapped them, And these are 5/16 by 18 Allen screws. There they are right over there. So those will go back in there. I will put sealant on them so that it seals up from the future. But that being said, everything's cleaned. We've got everything laid out. It should be relatively easy to put back together. So that's just a press-on fit. It'll get tightened up once I install these bolts and clamp the whole thing together. So now I need to get this O-ring set and this dust seal. The O-ring set goes in that groove down there, and the dust seal goes in this groove. And this O-ring set has 2 backup washers with it as well. So now that dust seal and that O-ring is in. Now this O-ring goes up onto the back side of this valve body. Alright, so as you can see, I was having trouble getting the power steering valve into the housing because everything was just a little too tight. So what I ended up doing was I took this and I polished all of these ridges to make them smoother. But that didn't do enough, so what I ended up having to do is getting this brake cylinder hone to be able to go inside of the hole here and hone it out. So if you don't know what a hone is, it's just a spring-loaded tool that has these abrasive stones on the end, and you mount this onto the end of a drill, put some oil in there, go in and out, and it cleans up and it removes a very small amount of material from the inside of the bore. So with that done, now this goes in all the way, a little sticky in one spot, but throughout the range of motion that it will be doing, it's now moves freely. So now that I have that done, I'll just clean this stuff up because this does create some dirt and dust and metal shavings. So clean all this stuff up and I can continue to be putting it back together. Now originally there was this felt seal that went on the back of the case here for this dust cap. I'm not going to put the felt seal on, it didn't come with my kit. But what I will do is use some Permatex blue, put it on there carefully, making sure I don't get any in the groove there. And then I have these little screw nails that came out. So now where I added these threads where these ball bearings used to be, I'll be putting in these end screws and I'll be using a little bit of sealant. Now, let that dry just for a few minutes so it gets tacky, and then we'll screw those in. So that is the steering cylinder replaced on my Massey Ferguson tractor. Overall, it went really well. Didn't have too many issues other than having to hone out the valve area where it was stuck. But other than that, everything went really well. The kit I bought had everything that I needed in it, and I was able to get it back together and into the tractor. We're still not done though. I still need to rebuild the pump on the tractor because I'm not sure if that is bad at all or not. So just in my due diligence, since I've done the cylinder, I'm going to be doing the pump as well, but you're going to have to wait for that for another episode. If you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and thanks for watching.